Warning from truckers, it's time to stock up on groceries. One trucker tells us when and where we could expect protests like the ones we're seeing in Canada here in America. Plus, Super Bowl weekend has arrived, and as a record number of us get ready to put money on the game, we have the top odds makers at Pointsbet to walk us through everything, including those wacky prop bets. But we begin tonight with breaking news. The strongest indication yet that Russia is ready to invade Ukraine. The strongest indication that this could happen soon. The White House now saying it could happen during the Olympics and warning any Americans in Ukraine who want to leave to get out now. NewsNation's Kellie Meyer joins us now from Washington with the latest. And Kellie, this feels different than other warnings. What do you think prompted it?
It does, and the White House was asked about that today, and they say it's this continued buildup they're seeing from the Russian military along 3 borders now surrounding Ukraine and Belarus, Western Russia, and as well as Crimea and the Black Sea. The White House telling Americans to leave Ukraine in the next 24 to 48 hours, warning the time to leave is now, and for the first time saying a Russian invasion could begin earlier than expected. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan adds, while many believe Russian President Vladimir Putin would wait for the Olympics to wrap up, Sullivan saying today an attack could come even sooner. Take a listen.
Now, we can't pinpoint the day at this point, and we can't pinpoint the hour. But what we can say is that there is a credible prospect that a Russian military action would take place even before the end of the Olympics.
And the warning that you just delivered to Americans. And, you know, the White House still saying, though, they don't feel that Putin has made up his mind one way or the other just yet, Joe.
All right, Kellie, thank you very much for the update live for us tonight in Washington. I want to bring in now retired Marine intelligence officer Hal Kemfer. He's a friend of the broadcast. Hal, you and I talk a lot during the week about what's happening with this situation in Ukraine, and I know you watch the program a lot. You've heard several of the analysts we have on say this felt like Putin may be bluffing, trying to drum up Russian nationalism. Something definitely feels like this is more serious and more pressing. Do you agree?
Joe, I think he's playing a very smart game. What he's doing is he's seeing how far he can get without actually putting forces in there. But his tone has changed dramatically over this last week. And he's using very abrasive language, dare we say non-diplomatic language, which is setting the perceptual, the political foundation for doing some sort of military invasion or large-scale incursion into Ukraine.
What changed for you? What do you think it was that kind of changed this tenor and the tone here?
I think what really made the big change was he just wasn't getting what he wanted. You know, one of the things that I noticed, you know, we tend to beat up on ourselves a lot. We tend to talk about how our alliances aren't as strong as they should be. There's been a lot of discussion about, well, the Germans didn't do this or something like that. What I was seeing was that NATO as an alliance was coming together pretty strongly, and the Germans this last week made it very clear that they were completely on board. They saw it the same way that the United States saw it, that there wasn't a gap or a bright light between the two countries. And with those 2 major NATO countries in sync, certainly all the rest of the countries were in sync. And then with Turkey going over there, providing needed drones to Ukraine, and then basically mentioning Crimea as an integral part of Ukraine territory, it just was not going the way I think that Putin hoped it would go.
His conversation with Macron was another sort of red flag, Hal.
It was. I got to tell you, that was very non-diplomatic language. If his goal was to really irritate Macron, irritate the French people, and to build French solidarity behind whatever the French position was, Putin did that. Language does matter. Words matter. And he was very insolent, if you will, very non-diplomatic. And I think that was a mistake on his end.
The other warning for you was the warning for mariners in the Black Sea.
That's one I've been watching for a long time. Of course, you know, being a Marine, we always look at from the sea. But with that, it's the Black Sea. There's a long history of amphibious operations in the Black Sea. The Russians practice this on a regular basis. They have the Russian naval infantry. They have the ships that they put into position there. They have everything they need to do a large-scale amphibious operation in the Black Sea. And the thing is, if you look at where the Ukrainian forces are arrayed, that is sort of a soft underbelly. You know, Ukraine can't defend everywhere.
Right.
And along the Black Sea is where they have the least amount of forces. There's an opportunity there for them to move in rather quickly and seize a lot of territory. And Joe, if I may add, there's a report that the paratroopers are standing by. The airborne division is standing by. That's classic. That's kind of like what we did in Normandy. You drop in airborne forces behind the force beachhead. They set up blocking positions, fight whatever's there to the beach to clear out whatever opposition there is. That's a distinct possibility.
All right. Well, we'll be all watching for sure over the weekend. Hal Kemper, retired military intelligence officer. Semper Fi, Hal. Good to see you.
Semper Fi, Joe. Hoorah.
Now, the pulse of America tonight. What else? The countdown to Super Bowl 56. Doesn't matter if you have a rooting interest in the game. There are good odds that you or someone you know will have a betting interest. Since last year's Super Bowl, 45 million more Americans are able to bet on the game as legal sports gambling spreads across the country. In New York, $1.6 billion bet in January alone, shattering the previous record for the highest opening betting handle. Super Bowl 56 already setting records as well. 31.5 million Americans expected to bet on the game. That's a record. $7.6 billion wagered on the game itself. Another record. So the question is, who you got, Rams or Bengals? With the points or straight up? If you look at the data, 16 of the 17 states where betting is legal, people are overwhelmingly taking the underdog, Cincinnati, and the points. 59%, in fact, of all bettors taking the Bengals and the 4 points. Perhaps even more surprising, 76% of money line bets, that's picking the outright winner, are on the Bengals. Now, if you're wondering why so many people would bet on the underdog to win, among the reasons, it's because it pays better to bet and win on the underdog. But you don't have to bet on the actual game. You can put money on how many yards or catches your favorite player will rack up, or if he scores a touchdown. You can even bet on if the coin flip will be heads or tails, how long the national anthem will be, what color Gatorade will be dumped on the winning coach. Last year was blue, by the way, in case you're curious. Country music star Mickey Guyton singing the national anthem. You can bet if she will sing for more or less than a minute 35 seconds. And we did some research on this. And the longest anthem was 2 minutes, 35 seconds. That was Alicia Keys in 2013. The shortest, a minute 27. That was Jewel in 1998. The average length, a minute, 56 seconds. You know, we like to give you the facts here and then let you take it from there. So good luck. For more on this, let's bring in Jay Croucher, head odds maker at Pointsbet. Jay, I'm a big fan of your work. It's great to have you with us. A contrarian friend of mine thinks his best theory is that if the majority of the money is on one team, pick the other. Because as we know, as we said, among other things, the house doesn't typically lose, or rarely. And in this case, most of the money is on the Bengals outright to win.
It's not a bad way to look at it. It's good to fade the public sometimes. At Pointsbet, most of our money is actually on the Rams. So we'll be needing the Bengals to pull off the upset, which is not the worst place to be in, given how good Joe Burrow has looked. But certainly, you know, I've been in Los Angeles for a week now. I don't think I've heard one person make the case for the Bengals. So that usually means that the Bengals will win. We're hoping that's the case.
Are you offended at all, Jay, that zoo animals are picking winners here? I mean, it's so easy an elephant can do it.
Yeah, the animals tend to get involved this time of year. Everyone is making picks, even the non-humans. But yeah, look, I mean, everyone's got such strong opinions about this game, but, you know, all it takes is one moment and the favorite flips. One Matthew Stafford interception and Cincinnati's favored. So it's anyone's guess. And yeah, no problem with anyone making a pick.
That's another thing that I find fascinating, Jay, is that you can bet during the game. I mean, how does that work? And what kinds of things can you bet on during the game? I saw where there was someone who bet on the Chiefs to win when they were up 21-3 in the second quarter, and we all know how that ended.
sure that person would like their money back and probably have some problems with Patrick Mahomes and co after that. But yeah, look, in-play betting, this is the way of the future. That's what we're really invested in. We have this new product called Live Same Game Parlay at Pointsbet, where you can combine outcomes. So you can bet on Matthew Stafford to throw for over 300 yards and the Rams to win or the Rams to cover, or you can bet on Joe Burrow to throw for 5 touchdowns and the Bengals to win. And you can do that halfway through the third quarter if you want. So now there's lots of betting options in-game and pre-match.
Right. I'm guessing with all these, there'd be a lot of them first-time bettors, I'm sure, Jay, because with these numbers and the new policies now in several states that allow legal gambling. So you're a first-time bettor. What do they look for here? What's your advice? Is there a good value, in your opinion, for them?
Yeah, so there's lots of options to bet on the Super Bowl. You know, like you mentioned, there are markets that are a little strange, like betting on the coin toss, betting on the Gatorade bar color that goes on the winning coach at the end. You know, this is the year when I think more about Gatorade than any other week of the year. So I think that there are lots of options like that, but the simplest way to bet is on the spread. That's the most popular bet type. We've got the line right now at Rams -4.5. So that is the quintessential market. Rams -4.5, Bengals +4.5.
Who you got in Phoenix Open?
The Phoenix Open. Well, why not? I don't like fading Brooks Koepka. We faded him last year, and he came from nowhere to win it. So, you know, in the big moments, he does tend to show up. So, yeah, Brooks Koepka, he's got the heart of a champion, and he definitely doesn't get scared at the end. So I wouldn't mind that.
Always fun to watch that golf tournament before the Super Bowl. And it's great to have Jay Croucher, head oddsmaker at Pointsbet, with us tonight. Jay, thanks. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Joe. You too.
Now, from betting the big game to attending the big game, ticket costs for the Super Bowl have skyrocketed in recent years, costing thousands of dollars for the worst seat in the house. And for more on that, we're joined now by NewsNation's Alex Caprariello, live from the site of the Super Bowl, SoFi Stadium in L.A. All right, Alex, so if you're a Bengals fan and they travel to L.A. for this game, it's, I guess, a little closer to a mortgage than a vacation, isn't it?
Not a bad comparison there, Joe. Good to have you. Good to be with you, I should say. Let's talk about these ticket prices. While they have been astronomically high, I've been looking at the trends over the course of the week, and actually single-game ticket prices have gone down. It's largely fueled by the lack of demand. All those Bengals fans snatched them up early, and they're still waiting to sell out this stadium. I took a single section up in the nosebleeds and looked at it throughout the course of the week. On Monday, Joe, it was selling for $5,400, but by today, it's being sold for $3,800, so almost a $2,000 drop. Now, of course, I'm a journalist, not a mathematician, but I did crunch some numbers for you. I wanted to see what it would cost a family of 4 if they were going to fly into Los Angeles and come here to attend Super Bowl 58. So tickets for the whole family, if we extrapolate that single number, that's going to cost $15,000 for a family of 4. If you factor in the number for flights to LAX, that's $210 a piece. A hotel, that's averaging about $270 a night. You're looking at a cool $17,000 for the weekend. And of course, that doesn't factor in the cost of a car rental, for the food and drinks that you're likely going to consume, for the gas that you're also going to consume on those dreadful LA highways. Of course, it's going to total a lot of money, but of course, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Plus the souvenirs. We haven't even gotten to that, Alex. Hey, what about these pep rallies?
Right.
We heard a lot about these. The Bengals had thousands of people at their pep rally, and there were some folks mocking the Rams fans. I guess at their rally they didn't have nearly as many, and it prompted, I guess, Barstool Sports to run a headline that said the Rams Super Bowl pep rally is enough cause to move the franchise again. I mean, we know Californians are famously busy, often doing other things. Do you think it'll sell out, and is this a home field advantage for them?
Well, the people at SoFi Stadium still are holding out, saying it's going to sell out. Of course, that pep rally wasn't great optics for the Rams. For what it's worth, I've been here on the ground covering the Super Bowl for 3 weeks, and I see lots of excitement here in Los Angeles. It has been a problem, though, over the course of the year. You might remember the NFC Championship game, the Rams versus the 49ers, some of those videos that came out, cell phone videos, where you just saw the sea of red here in SoFi Stadium, a home game for the Los Angeles Rams. So, you know, fandom is being questioned, but I know a lot of people are still excited.
All right, Alex Caprariello live at SoFi for us. Have a great weekend. Thanks for the time. In the past 24 hours, America's police in a war zone. 8 officers across America shot. In Phoenix, 5, with several others injured by shrapnel. Happened during a standoff with a gunman. One officer was ambushed after being invited inside the home. At one point, police say a man emerged from the home with a baby. He surrendered, arms up. Police took him into custody, and then more gunfire. Here's just some of the video from the scene. Police ultimately found the gunman inside the home dead. A woman at the scene, also in that home, was killed as well. That's what prompted the original call. Now, add to that 2 officers today in Frederick, Maryland, and a New Mexico State Police trooper, all shot. Again, all at this point alive, but a harrowing 24 hours for law enforcement. 11 shot in just the past 24 hours. Sheriff Mike Chitwood of Volusia County, Florida, joins us now. Sheriff, it's good to see you again. I think the thing that really surprised all of us in this Phoenix case was how the suspect or someone used the baby as a decoy to shoot 4 more officers. How do we call that anything other than an ambush?
Joe, thank you for having me on. It was despicable, it was cowardly, and it was evil, because we have moral and ethical duties to do as law enforcement officers. None of us would allow that baby to lay there and, God forbid, be murdered. And you saw those officers move in at great peril to themselves to rescue that child. And the result was this guy laid in wait for a second time. He ambushed the first officer responding, inviting him into the home, and then shooting him. You know, sadly, Joe, this is what our society has turned into. It's about murdering your girlfriend, your baby's mother, your child's mother, and then lure the cops in and murder them.
It took us a while to figure out what was going on, Sheriff, so I can only imagine what the officers on the scene were dealing with. But it became pretty more clear and evident that after you found out this person came out with the baby and then surrendered, and then you knew that there was someone else in the house, but you didn't know, and you wouldn't have known that. These officers wouldn't know. I'm guessing they assumed the guy who came out with the baby was the suspect.
Absolutely. When I first watched that video, that's what I thought. I thought, okay, they negotiated with him. He put the weapon down. He's coming out. He's compliant. They do everything that we're trained to do. Now let's move in and get the baby. And then you hear that barrage of gunshots. And the good Lord was looking out for the infant and those officers, because tonight we could be talking, there were 5 officers killed and the baby dead and the original responding officer. This is just pure evil, a pure coward. It's going to be interesting to see the relationship and how many times this poor woman, the victim in this case, was a victim of domestic abuse.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the video here, Sheriff, and at that point, as we said, when he comes out backing up with his hands up, I'm sure everyone figured it was over. I'm wondering, too, when you go to get the baby, I didn't see this part of the video, so I'm not sure, but wouldn't they typically use the shields or something like that you see the SWAT team using to try to protect themselves and the baby?
You know, what I don't know, Joe, is the timeline. I think this kind of evolved rapidly because the SWAT team didn't get there till later on. Mm-hmm. So they were making decisions on the fly. And again, you know, we train our officers today differently than we did 35 years ago when I started. In an active shooter scenario, you don't wait necessarily for the SWAT team. We give you the tools to make an moral and ethical decision to go. And I think that the situation was so out of control and so volatile, these officers said, we got to go. The heck with personal safety. We need to get this child. And I applaud them. I'm proud of my profession. And thank God they're all going home tonight, and so is that baby.
Yeah, because it certainly could have been a much different outcome. Law enforcement always uses things like this for training, Sheriff. What do you think is the takeaway? What is the learning moment from all of this?
Joe, I hate to say that this may be the new norm, that somebody's watching this and realize that you can lure an officer into an ambush and then lure more officers in so that you could carry out your nefarious and evil deeds. I think this is a Columbine moment for law enforcement. We may have to start restructuring, responding, and retooling how we do things because this may become the norm. This was just, I can tell you in 35 years, I would have, and every cop I know would have ran up there once the suspect was secured, never thinking behind that door was a second gunman,
Yeah.
or the original gunman.
Well, I mean, it also, I think, shows just how difficult it is for officers on the scene of something like this to know what's happening inside the house until you get in. And it also points to something we talk about a lot on this show, and that is just how volatile and challenging these domestic issues are.
You know, more officers are killed during domestic violence and car stops than anything else. And I think when you watch what has happened last year, I think we had 67 officers slain. The overwhelming majority were killed during that domestic disturbance. You have a guy who has nothing to lose. He's killed his family. He's killed his girlfriend or wife. And now he wants to go out in a blaze of glory and doesn't care anything at all. They're cowards. These domestic violence calls are dealing with a coward who's going to use everything they can to their advantage.
Sheriff Mike Chitwood of Volusia County, Florida. Sheriff, it's good to see you again. Thanks for the time.
Joe, thank you very much. God bless you and your family.
Take care. Breaking news now on the trucker protest in Canada. A court in Ontario has granted an injunction to end the blockade on the Ambassador Bridge at the U.S.-Canada border. So we'll see if truckers listen to that court order or what happens from here. But it happens as truck drivers in the U.S. are warning of plans to hold similar protests here in the U.S. In fact, last night on this show,
there absolutely is something in the works, and I know that on firsthand knowledge. But we're not really trying to go too public with it. We're trying to keep it in-house as much as we can because we want to make sure that this stays a grassroots movement.
That was Brian Ilesley, a driver we had on the show last night. Today, we're seeing signs he was probably onto something and knows what's happening, specifically on social media, where some digging reveals private Facebook groups are forming with names like this one here, Freedom to DC. Some truckers even reportedly laying out specific plans for the routes the convoy will take to Washington, D.C., as they're even advising each other to avoid big cities. A source sent us this screenshot earlier today. Joining me now for more on this, another American truck driver who's warning us to stock up on groceries in anticipation of these protests. J.D. Walker. J.D., it's good to have you with us. What do you know about what's happening? Is this going to go down, do you think, here in the U.S., similar to what we're seeing in Canada?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it's coming straight to the States. I hope that I get involved with it.
Really?
Yes, sir.
And now,
yes, sir.
Are we talking about a convoy here, JD, or are you talking about similar blockades?
I'm talking about convoys. Now, if it was left up to my devices, I'd have convoys going throughout the states right now. And that's only because of what every American is going through. With every American that is actually out there working or trying to work, I feel like that it's necessary for the truckers to sit there and speak for them also.
Trying to work, JD, is one thing, and a convoy is another. A blockade is something completely different. I just worry that the timing on this, if it involves things like what we're seeing in Canada, where bridges are shut down, people are losing their jobs, parts aren't getting delivered. You guys have built up a lot of goodwill. You got us through the pandemic when no one would leave their house, and you guys delivered our goods. I'm just worried, are you, that you lose that goodwill if you start to put up a roadblock like this?
I don't believe it's going to be a roadblock like what's happening up there in Canada. I don't think that'll happen. I believe it'll be a flow of trucks. That's what I believe.
All right. I'm curious as far as what you think will be the fallout from this, though. And my other question is, I mean, we are so hurting for you guys right now. The last I saw, we're talking about hiring 18-year-olds to drive big rigs. How is it that you guys have the time to even do this, to pull off a convoy when you have, I'm sure, plenty of work?
Well, sometimes you have to put priorities in order. When you putting your priorities in order, you know, you've got to do what you got to do to get through the day. That's how I feel about it.
What are you protesting, JD? I mean, the truckers don't have a mandate to get the vaccine, right? They were left out of that federal mandate for transportation, and a lot of states are dropping mask mandates right now. Why would you take part and look forward to taking part in these convoys to protest?
The reason why I'm looking forward to it is because of the mandates that are still in place. There are still some states that are going through these mandates with the vaccines and with the mask. The way that I feel about it, I believe that it should be everybody's choice, not being forced to do it. It should be everybody's choice. That's how I feel about it. That's the reason why I feel the way that I feel.
Do you think the truckers in Canada should stop what they're doing now? Had they made their point 2 weeks later and open up the bridge so that trade can flow, the tens of millions of dollars we're losing in business on this?
I feel like that they should hold their ground.
As long as it takes, even though there's this injunction. Let's say if you were parked there, JD, like this truck we're looking at right here, we heard about the injunction, asking these truckers, or telling them anyway, instructing them to open up the Ambassador Bridge. What would you do?
I really couldn't answer that because I'm not up there. The way that I see things that are flowing and stuff like that, it just seems like that, that they're not lifting the mandate. If they lift the mandate, then I'm sure that the drivers will feel like, okay, well, we've done our job. We've done what we came to do, and it's time for us to go.
Well, I think they lifted it in Saskatchewan, at least I'd heard, but the rest of it, I'm not sure. We will see. But you think there will definitely be some of these convoys we'll be seeing here in the U.S., but not the blockades. That's your takeaway? That's
my take. Yes.
All right. Truck driver J.D. Walker, thanks for your time. Thanks for what you do for all of us delivering. Stay safe on the roads. We'll see you. All right, On Balance with Leland Bittert starts at the top of the hour, and he joins us right now with a preview. And some other things. President's getting testy with reporters. It's happening more and more lately, as it seems. Here's a clip of a few sound bites from President Biden. Let's listen.
Well, you're being a wise guy with me a little bit, and I understand that's your job. What a stupid son of a... No, I didn't say that. Look what I said. Go back and read what I said. Yeah, I'm not confident changing behavior. What the hell, what do you do over there? So when did I say I was confident? What I said was, let's get it straight.
All right, Leland, but you were there for that, actually,
Yeah,
right?
that was Caitlin Collins in Geneva.
And he apologized after, right?
He apologized. Caitlin Collins did not. He said to Peter Doocy that they had an understanding about things after he called them an SOB. President Trump would call that a Tuesday.
That's right.
So at some level, it's sort of what the standard is, right? And I think why people are sort of observing this from President Biden, wanting to comment on it, is because he was so critical of President Trump, right? There was a part of the media that was so critical. How dare President Trump go after the media or push back or call them names and on, or fight with reporters. Then when now President Biden does it, everyone's like, well, okay, he set the standard and now he has to live to it.
You had Phil Wegman on your show, I think, right after
we did
Real Clear Politics, and he said this makes two presidents in a row now who've yelled at me.
Yeah, well, I'm behind Phil because President Trump used to hate tweet me on the weekends when I was at Fox News, and I have not gotten tweeted at by President Biden, so we'll see if it happens.
All right. That's what else do you have tonight? You got...
Yeah, we actually, interestingly enough, you don't have any grandkids, but for people who have grandkids or who have young kids, Pfizer pulled their request from the FDA to approve the vaccine for kids under 5 years old. And they said they need more time to study.
Not even emergency use?
Right. They pulled the request to get the emergency use, said they needed more time. We have on the former head of approving vaccines at the FDA to explain the process and also sort of get into this idea of if you've got kids who have virtually no chance of dying, effectively no chance of dying from COVID, is it really worth putting something in them under this emergency use idea? So we'll get into that.
Top of the hour. On Balance. Thanks, Leland. Now, on to what is clearly my favorite story of the day. Heartwarming. Way to get into the weekend. It's Audrey Soape we have a picture of here with her dad, Ryan. She's wearing a corsage on her wrist because in 2017, they were headed to the church's daddy-daughter dance. Tragically, though, Ryan Soape died in 2019. This year, at the age of 11, as the dance was scheduled to happen again, Audrey had no father. Her grandfather had also just died, so she had no escort. That is until another date stepped in. In fact, it was her favorite NFL football player, Anthony Harris, a safety for the Philadelphia Eagles. Harris surprised young Audrey after her mom had sent him a message on social media. She said it was far-fetched to even try, but Anthony came through, and Audrey later said of the evening, I felt like I was with my friend. And both Audrey and her mom, Holly, joined us now. Guys, like I said, first of all, I am so sorry for your loss, but this story warmed my heart in so many ways, and I'm thrilled after having read your story to have you both on. Holly, let's start with you and how you came up with this idea to reach out to Anthony, if you thought it would even work.
Well, actually, I touched base with Anthony probably about 2 years ago through social media. We were just fans. We followed his career through the Vikings, and then again when he went to the Eagles. And he had experienced a loss in his life, and it was sort of towards the beginning of the pandemic, so I knew everybody was kind of going through it. And so I sent him a private message through Instagram just saying, you know, I'm really sorry for your loss. I just want to send my prayers and support, and, you know, if you need anything, you know, reach out. And surprisingly, he responded and he said, you know what, I really appreciate that. I appreciate the prayers. I appreciate the support. And from that time, periodically, he and I would touch base through social media. So he actually knew when her father had passed away, I had reached out to him again. So he knew the story. He knew everything she'd been through. And when it came closer to the dance, I just thought, you know what, why not give it a go? So I asked and he said yes.
Isn't that something? Audrey, so how did you find out this was going to happen? You went through all of this not knowing who was going to be your date for the night?
Yes. When I found out, I was like so surprised. I couldn't believe anything. And I was super nervous and excited at the same time. It was crazy.
But he bought you a new dress, new shoes. I guess he said he wanted you to feel like a princess. Is that right?
Yes, I did feel like a princess, and I loved everything about what I was wearing.
Oh, yeah, you look beautiful for sure. Holly, you chaperoned the dance. What did it mean to you to have Anthony there?
I mean, it was incredible to have him there. You know, I was kind of watching them all night, making sure that, you know, she was having a good time, making sure he was having a good time. And as I just watched them interact, I mean, he was talking with her, he was engaging with her, he was getting her to dance. They had ran around the church, they were doing a scavenger hunt. I mean, she was laughing, she was smiling the whole time. It was just incredible just to see her experience that much joy, knowing everything that she'd been through, and just having somebody show up for her, somebody make her smile, make her feel special. It was unbelievable from start to finish.
Well, it is just so great. And I mean, it's just such a beautiful act for Anthony to do this. And Audrey, the thing I love about it too, the reason I was so drawn to this story is because some of my best memories with our daughters are the daughter dance, the father-daughter dances. And it made me think that you'll always remember this night because of what Anthony did, but it'll always remind you of your dad and make you smile.
Yes, it'll always remind me of my father and how much he loved me. And also always remember how Anthony did always this like lovely thing for me.
Yeah. Listen, it's just, again, such a great story. And Holly and Audrey Soape, I appreciate you joining us to talk about it. Have a great weekend. Take care.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.